Welcome to Baton Rouge in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. If March has got its madness for basketball, well, women's gymnastics has got its April anarchy, and we are into the second round of the postseason here at the regionals, and this is where it really starts to get good. Let's take a look at our regional bracket here in Baton Rouge. Nebraska advanced from that first round to the second round. They will go later this evening with the host team, the highest seeded team in this bracket, the LSU Tigers. But right now we've got Stanford, Michigan, North Carolina, and Utah State. Only two of those teams will make it to the regional finals. It's all about advancing. Hello, everyone. I am John Roethlisberger, joined by Olympic silver medalist and NCAA champion Sam Pechek. Sam, the regular season was phenomenal, but now this is where the drama really gets going here in the postseason.
And especially when I watched warm-ups, and all four of these teams looked on. I saw really clean and controlled landings. I saw a lot of attention to detail. So from my perspective, it's going to be whoever can turn it on when they salute, and that's a lot of pressure to manage.
Yeah, we've got some great teams, and the underdogs in this session in particular have a little edge to them. I'm curious to see where that drama comes up. But the top-seeded team in this session is the Stanford Cardinal, and they have been sensational this year, and a big reason is because of Anna Roberts.
She is just incredible. Just one of 5 gymnasts in the nation to score more than one perfect 10 this season. She's also the ACC Gymnast of the Year and was named to the AAI Award finalist list. She is incredible and so solid every single time she competes. This is an athlete you're going to want to watch today.
Yeah, one of the best in the nation, 5th-ranked gymnast in the all-around coming into the postseason. Tears of joy right there. A lot of excitement for that Stanford team this season. First 198 since 2004. What else jumps out to you on this list here, Sam?
Well, Utah State is breaking records. First time ever in history, back-to-back Mountain West championships. North Carolina's been building since the beginning of the season. Could this be the year that they advance to the regional final? And Michigan has looked really solid, especially on where they're starting first, balance beam.
Yeah, what a place to start, putting the pressure on early, but if they can really nail it at the beginning, they will put themselves in a great spot. The meet format, 6 gymnasts compete on each event like the regular season, and also the top 5 scores count. You drop that lowest score, top 5 scores added together. Highest team total is the top team score and the winner. 4 judges per event here, though. Unlike the regular season, the high and the low are dropped. The middle 2 scores are average. So more eyeballs on these routines than you would get in the regular season. We have some individual competitors as well. The top individuals that aren't here with a team get an opportunity to advance to the NCAA championships, and here are some of them competing here in the first rotation. In the first rotation, Stanford will start on the vault, where they are the 15th ranked team in the country. North Carolina on bars, Michigan on the balance beam, as we mentioned, and then Utah State on the floor exercise. Those numbers next to their team name, that is what they're ranked on that particular event. So it just kind of gives you an idea of how they compare. Michigan, the 5th ranked team in the nation on balance beam. So maybe, Sam, an advantage for them to come out of the gates quick. Beam, a tough event. Nerves are at a peak at the start of the meet. What do you think about that, starting on beam?
Well, I can tell you most teams in the country would not choose to start there, but I spoke to head coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin, and she said that we're an amazing beam routine. They want to start off calm, and they put records, and they want to get that confidence and start building momentum early in the meet.
You know, you and I talked briefly about starting on beam. I compared it to men's gymnastics, where we have pommel horse would be our beam equivalent. And I did that a number of times at big meets, and you have this edge in your focus. It's almost like, yeah, it's easy to make a mistake, but it also is nice to get it out of the way. Here is Stanford on the vault. Leading off for them, Levi Young, Root Edivar.
Good, solid start. Yurchenko layup full. Maximum score 995 with that vault. You're going to see it a lot in the competition.
North Carolina, they get things going here on the bars. This is Claire Stipik, senior out of Heartland, Wisconsin. These first athletes up, so important to get the rotation off on the right foot. We saw in round 1, Nebraska had some trouble with that. They overcame it to advance, but these first routines, critical.
A little shy on that first handstand. What you're going to notice about Claire's routine is just how quick and aggressive she swings. She's been doing a good job finding her rhythm there.
Michigan, right hand of your screen. That's Sophie Parenti from Michigan, getting things going.
Left hand side of your screen, dismount, double layout. almost a perfect landing. I think just her toes moved there. Minimal deductions, though, on the landing. Back handspring layout. Sophie's such a smooth beam worker. That's what I noticed. Her rhythm is really calm. Just floating through her skills. She even asked head coach Miley, can I still go first? And Miley said, of course, because coaches are always wanting to find athletes that are good at going in that leadoff spot and also who like going in the leadoff spot.
Utah State over on floor exercise. First gymnast to go there, Olivia Orango.
Opens double back.
Sophie Parenti, good finish to that beam routine. Just to update you on that one.
This has been Utah State's best event this season. It also has their highest scoring potential. So for them to start here, this is where they really need to shine to get a bit of an advantage heading into the second rotation.
Second vaulter to go for Stanford will be Anna Barbosu following Liai Rongyu Ibivar's 9.75.
A nice floor routine. That's the way that Utah State's hoping to start here, catching that momentum. All teams are starting to catch the momentum, but when you start on a strength, you really want to gain the advantage early.
Moments ago, this is Anna Barbosu's vault. Freshman member of the Romanian national team, competed in Paris at the 2024 Olympic Games.
She didn't compete at ACCs on vault, but had really strong warm-ups, actually, that looked incredibly similar to the controlled landing that we're seeing here.
Nev King, now the second gymnast to go for the Tar Heels. 9.825 for Stipik in the leadoff spot. Great leadoff score. Can the Tar Heels build?
Good backswing on that Maloney. Leg separation on the pack salto. Really nice, aggressive handstand work. Judges want to see that 12 o'clock. And another good landing. They're hoping to catch a little bit of that Nebraska contagious landing stick train over there on bars.
Yeah, Nebraska in that round one four-stuck vault.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Quincy Walters, the second gymnast from Michigan, follows up Parenti, 9.8. So decent start score. 9.8s. In the 9.8s are good start scores. If you see a 9.9 on that leadoff spot, you did something real special. But good beginning here for the Wolverines.
Now, Quincy is just a freshman. Been doing a really productive job for Michigan this year, and the team says she's just fit in so well. Such a bubbly, positive personality, and a great addition to this team. Finishing front full. A little bit of a college stick there, sliding in.
Yeah, you got to hold that finish position. It was a little shy holding that. We'll see what the judges do. Back over on floor exercise. Second gymnast to go, Sienna Yell, the freshman.
Opens front double full.
Summer Gronsky, the third gymnast to go for Stanford. 9.825 for Barbosu right before her. So scores building for Stanford. Want to really try to avoid counting 9-7 scores if you're any of these teams.
Got to be a clean Yurchenko layout full. Went too hard for the stick, had to take the hop forward. So it's the automatic 1/10 deduction for being under-rotated, and of course the deduction for the hop forward as well.
Yeah, Stanford had a really troublesome vault rotation at the ACC championships, which cost them that team title. So trying to get off to a good start here. Sienna Yell finishing up her job on the floor exercise. Solid start for the Aggies. Peyton Davis getting ready to go for Michigan on the balance beam. She will be their third athlete to go. Meanwhile, over on the uneven bars for UNC, started off with a season-high score from Stipik. Then Nev King put up a career-high score of a 9.825. So back-to-back 9.825 for them there. Great omens for the Tar Heels.
Well, ask their coaches how they've been mentally preparing for starting on beam, and they're throwing them a lot of different distraction assignments in the gym to make sure they're ready for this moment.
Anna Pearl Stanley, right hand of your screen for North Carolina. Third one to go.
Clean gymnastics I'm seeing. Left-hand side, back handspring layout. Good side aerial beat jump. Quickly to the right-hand side. Gearing up for her dismount. Can it be another clean landing? It was, of course, hop, small hop there, but it was really clean, legs together. Nice execution on the bar. I want to see a little bit more split from Peyton Davis on that. So actually, athletes have to hit that 180 for no deductions.
So Peyton Davis finishes up 9.775 for Walters right before her. Again, 6 gymnasts per event. Top 5 scores count. I already mentioned, don't count 9.7s. You don't have to win this meet. You just want to be in the top 2, advance to the regional final. But 9.7s, if they're your counting score, that is not a good sign. Marley Peterson here, the third gymnast to go. A pair of 9.8s for Utah State. Good start.
Yeah, and Marley got a 9.85 last time she competed on floor, so they're hoping to build on those first 2 scores. Opening front layout to a Rudy. That's a 1.5 twist.
Ui Soma will be the next gymnast to go for Stanford on vault. Summer Gronsky, a 9.7. That means Stanford's going to count that 9.7 from young Ru Idivar in the opening spot.
Yeah, really slow start I'm noticing from all 4 of these teams, and that's where I have to assume a little bit of nerves is coming into play here. But you know, the teams that are putting up some big numbers are the teams that have nothing to lose. UNC and Utah State here on floor, they're looking really aggressive. They're attacking the equipment. Another combination pass, loose knees, soft knees in the air on those twisting skills, but minimal deductions on the landing.
Zara Ranger on balance beam for Michigan. She's been outstanding, just a sophomore, but they need to get some numbers. Back-to-back scores in the 9.7s for Michigan. They've got to really put those up over 9.8. Right now in the rotation, you should be putting up 9.9s, not 9.7s.
Back handspring layout. Her hips were off center. Had that big wobble. Clean recovery.
Right hand of your screen, the 4th gymnast to go for North Carolina, Paige Prejean. All 9.8s or better for North Carolina so far.
Huge Tkachev. Beautiful combination. They crushed that. Left-hand side of your screen, huge double back. One step. She's normally so good at sticking those landings.
Tough dismount on beam. Don't see a lot of those.
And a beautiful dismount from Paige on bars.
North Carolina, could they take advantage of some of these small mistakes from the other teams? So far, they are.
Their Tkachev is huge, stretching her arms out. You see her arms were completely straight when she caught the bar. That means it's perfect distance away. That's how she was able to have enough momentum to go into the second skill.
Anna Roberts now has gotten a 10 twice this season on this event, and right now that is what the doctor has ordered.
Yeah.
They need a big one here.
Doing a Yurchenko 1.5, 10-0 start value vault. Oh, man. That hurt me a little bit because technically it was such a beautiful vault, but you can tell just how hard they're trying to stick these landings.
Nyla Morabito now for Utah State on floor exercise. They've Got a 9-7 on the board. 9-7, 7-5 from Peterson. That is their low score. So looking to get 3 more big scores, 9-8 better, maybe a couple 9-9s to finish.
Front tuck into the double back. Very nice hold in that finish position. I always think when athletes can step back to a lunge and just freeze their arms, their legs, just for a split second, it shows the judges, hey, I was in complete control here, and actually helps their score.
Jazara Ranger from Michigan, 9.725. This is an event for Michigan that they set a school record in the first meet of the year, and so far that has not shown up today. Kaylee Boozer in the 5 spot. Absolutely need 2 scores in the 9-9s, hopefully at least high 9-8s.
Well, beautiful leap series to get things going, way above 180. Kaylee is one of those athletes that's really a natural beam worker, and you can tell that by the way that she sinks into the beam after each skill. Really has a good understanding of the adjustments she needs to make in the middle of the air to make it appear perfect every single time she lands. She's ranked 13th on beam in the nation. Oh, that was a mistake. She was just supposed to do that back handspring layout. I think she probably noticed she was off, which was strange because she did a perfect back handspring, but she knew she couldn't fix it or adjust, stopped, started over, which is a great veteran move. Saved herself a really big mistake if she was going to take a fall there.
Yeah, that was savvy. Gwen Fink, now the 5th gymnast up for North Carolina on bars. All 9-8s or better still for the Tar Heels.
Huge. Yeager above the bar, caught a little close. You can tell that by her elbow bend in the catch. UNC is looking very consistent. I like how slow to the handstand they've been. Finishing big double layout to a stuck landing. They're looking good on bars, John.
Tremendous start. Could that flirt with their first 9-9 of the rotation? And actually the first 9-9 of the whole competition out of all these teams. Carolyn Wynn trying to finish strong here. Stanford needs a big one still.
Big vault, Yurchenko 1.5. Gets the stick. Amazing job. You know there was a lot of pressure on that specific vault there. Gets it around, fast twister. Might be a slight direction deduction there since she's not directly behind the table, but overall no steps on the no deductions on the steps there.
Isabella Vader follows Morabito's 9.85. The junior from Las Vegas trying to put up a big number here, taking advantage of some low scores from the top 2 seeded teams. Stanford and Michigan struggling a bit. North Carolina, Utah State taking advantage.
Opens front double full. Couldn't quite see if she got the double twist all the way around.
Carly Bauman, left hand of your screen in the anchor spot for Michigan. She was a member of that 2021 National Championship team. She has gone a career high 9.975 on this event, and they need one of those type of performances right now.
She's an athlete that, over her time at Michigan, I've just really enjoyed how calm she competes. Good back handspring layout, no issues with the landing. She's so graceful. Side thummy, squeezing her core there. Nice tumbling pass from Isabella Vader, right hand side of your screen. Carly's just got that dismount, and this is going to be their highest score in that beam rotation, I'm willing to bet, because that was really solid. No movement, no clear big deductions, and they really needed that, John.
Big time needed that. They are going to count 2 scores in the 9-7s, but that one should be their biggest, as you mentioned, Sam. Right hand of your screen, that score tower. Keep in mind, the only thing that matters today, it isn't about who wins. You want to be in the top 2 to make it to the regional final. Scores don't carry over. So if you're looking at the scores, you got the top 2 teams, their team total. Underneath that, right now, Michigan, 2/10 out of second. And Utah State, that's how far they are out of second. So that is what we're really trying to focus on. As we see the anchor spot, Cameron Rueda for North Carolina on the uneven bars. And our first individual performer was on your left hand of your screen, competing on vault. Isabella Minervini from Towson.
A little slow and a little shy of that last handstand and pirouette. You want to finish the pirouettes on top of the bar. It's a hit routine. It's going to be a good score. It's probably not going to get past that 9.85, 9.8 range. This is a Maloney. You want to get your body all the way up to horizontal in the backswing. She does a good job of that. Just the pirouettes is where I saw the biggest deduction throughout this routine.
So we're going over to the balance beam for our individual there. This is Serena Mullen. She is a senior out of New Hampshire, competing in the all-around here today. Again, trying to advance to the NCAA championships. We'll talk about that more as we go through. But on the right hand of your screen right now, Mara Gruber in the anchor spot for Utah State. Following that Bader, 9.8. Trying to finish strong here. Can they get a big number?
Open, big combination, 2.5 twist, punch front on the right-hand side of your screen. Utah State's head coach, Kristen White, said this was a really good event for them to start on. She said she was looking forward to it because they do a good job of being consistent. We're seeing that with the scores here.
A 9.85 from Gruber right here would put Utah State in the top 2 after the first rotation. How about that?
Serena, round of 1.5, left-hand side of your screen. Great way to finish her beam routine and start her meet. Another combination pass, nicely done. You see Kristen White in the back, former Oklahoma gymnast. They also have Olivia Troutman, another Oklahoma standout on their staff, and it's been really fun talking to them about their philosophies and continuing to build this amazing Utah State program.
Cameron Rueda finished that bar rotation for North Carolina with a 9.75, so that'll end up being their low score for that rotation. So maybe a chance right there to get to the top of the standings. Couldn't quite pull it off, but still in a good spot is North Carolina. We'll see what that score from Gruber is, see where that lands them. But right now on the uneven bars, Cameron True from Pitt, the sophomore.
A little shy on that first handstand, played it safe a bit, but nice distance away from the bar when she caught. Good execution. You can see her legs glued together. I want to see her be aggressive on this handstand. Finishing double back, just a hop, really clean bar routine. You see Lexi Funk right there giving her a hug. She was a Michigan gymnast. It's really great to see all these head coaches, assistant coaches coming back, seeing their former teams. There's that first handstand. They get a 10-degree grace period, but you never want to leave it up to question for the judges, and that one may have been in the gray area.
One more athlete competing here in this rotation, McCall McMullen, the junior out of Athens, Georgia, competing for New Hampshire. Right hand of your screen, we told you there'd be some drama. How about a 3-way tie for first place, and Michigan 0.025 behind the top 3 teams. It is going to be a barn burner, they call it back in Tennessee.
First tumbling pass, double back, out of bounds at the 1/10 deduction. Good combination pass. All these leotards are beautiful, but this one to me is stunning. There are so many sparkles. You don't get extra points for that, but maybe you should. Good start to her competition. It's always tough competing as an individual when you're used to competing with your team the entire season. You see them high-fiving the Utah State gymnast. One more look at that double back. Big lunge. Tough to see. We never saw a flag go up, so maybe she was right there, and she saved herself that 110. Fingers crossed.
If the flag doesn't go up, you didn't go out of bounds. If a tree falls in the forest, Sam, and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound, the same goes for an out of bounds.
It's true.
That is your last competitor in this first rotation, and that is the only event McCall McMullen will be doing today. She qualified as a floor competitor here. But, man, Sam, 49-1 for the top 3 teams. And I got a feeling, you know, North Carolina, Utah State feel better about their 49-1 than Stanford feels about theirs. I think they left some points on the mat, so to speak.
Yeah, and Michigan, you know, of course they're 0.025 behind. They're right in the mix, but I know they wanted to start strong on their best event and get that advantage. So really what I'm seeing is Utah State and UNC is going to be happy with this outcome of the first rotation.
Here's your individual scores for those competing here in that first rotation. McCall McMullen, the last gymnast we just saw on floor, 9.775. The high from the individuals, Minervini, a 9.85 on the vault. She will be doing all around as well today. So that is your first rotation. The Stanford Cardinal fans, they got the trees on the head, and they have got a share of the lead, but a lot of work to do. 3 rotations to go. The anarchy has begun. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, and we have got a sensational start. We told you it was going to be good. This is better than we even anticipated. Essentially a 4-way tie after 1 rotation. That 0.025, Michigan's back from those other teams is almost nothing, Sam. But whose advantage is this right now, given how close this meet is?
Well, I think the advantage is North Carolina and Utah State because they're trailing coming into this competition. However, Utah State just finished their best event. North Carolina's going to hope to continue this momentum as well. So we'll see what Stanford and Michigan have to do, but they really wanted an advantage after the first rotation, and they don't have that.
Yeah, that Michigan beam rotation, certainly disappointment for them. On an event they're ranked 5th in the nation. You think, gosh, you go to beam and hit beam, knock it out of the park. You get it behind you and put up a big number, but that did not happen. We'll see how Michigan reacts. This is our bracket. So 2 teams, again, remember, it doesn't matter who wins. You've got to be in the top 2 today to make it to the regional final. Right now, Stanford and Michigan, the top seeds in this session. Certainly, after 1 rotation, it is up for grabs. Later today, 8 Eastern time on ESPN+, you're going to have that top-seeded team in this rotation. It's LSU. We'd like to welcome those that were watching SportsCenter to Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Regional. We have got a sensational competition going here. I'm John Rothsberger, joined by Olympic silver medalist and NCAA champion Sam Peszek. Sam, everything we hoped it would be and more so far.
We wanted a close competition, but we didn't expect a complete tie, almost a 4-way tie after the first event. So it's going to rely on every single skill, every single stuck landing. Man, the pressure is on here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, the favorites, Stanford and Michigan, certainly It's at stake for them right now. It's tough to hold on to the top spots. They've got some work to do. Later today, we have got some great gymnastics. 4 regionals going on across the country. Lexington's going to get the first round going, as well as Corvallis. But in Tempe, they're going to have the second round going as well, just like here tonight. This is where you want to tune in, people. You want to tune in to John and Sam, and you want to see the LSU Tigers. See if they can make it to the regional final. Man, it's April anarchy. You can have your madness of March. We will take the anarchy of April. It is awesome. We're going to go right back to you, Matt and Hannah. This is a good one. If that didn't get them pumped up, Sam, to tune in, you've got to tune in, because it is going to be a great day for sure.
I'm pumped up. I'm in
rotation number 2.
I'm in the meet right now watching it with you, and I got pumped up from that. So these athletes are going to be excited going into second rotation to handle all these nerves.
Let's look at a couple of the highlights from that first rotation. Stanford started off on the vault, and it was not a great rotation for them, but they finished with this one. Terrell Nguyen, a big one for them.
Yeah, good highlight. Yurchenko 1.5, stuck landing there. A little bit of a directional issue slightly at the end, but man, she nailed it when she needed it. Stanford's got to be happy with that one.
And they needed that one too. Again, Michigan, Stanford, the top-seeded teams, gave away some points in that first rotation, and that means opportunity for the underdogs. And we're just going to call them underdogs. I don't know if they want to be called underdogs, but Utah State and North Carolina, not the favorites to advance. When you talk to Dana Durante, for example, before the competition, she is all about it. She's embracing the underdog role, but also embracing the belief that they can and will advance. Here's your individual competitors competing in this second rotation. We've got 3 gymnasts competing for Towson. And we also have one competing for New Hampshire as well. Serena Mullen in the all-around. She'll be on floor exercise. Here's where everybody will be in the second rotation. Utah State on the vault, Stanford on the bars, North Carolina on the balance beam. Big moment for them, man. They put up a big score there. They've got those 2 events behind them, and they can just do the floor and vault and let it fly. Michigan will be on floor exercise. Pressure on them as well. Next to their team name, that is the ranking again on that particular event, not for their team overall. A couple reminders about the score tower on your right. The lightly shaded score as they put up the scores, that is the one that is the low score and the one that will be dropped should it remain the lowest score. Leading off on the vault for Utah State, Maya Whitty, the junior.
Opening with a Yurchenko full. Wow. That's how you want to start the rotation. Not quite the highest vault, but we know 6 are contagious, and that's important in this meet.
Leading off on the uneven bars after leading off on vault, Levi Youngwoo, Evie Var.
She has been so steady, and I just love watching her form on this event. All the way through her toe point, just the full extension is so beautiful to watch. Head coach Tabitha Yim said that she's just the ultimate team player. I'll go first, I'll go whenever you want me to go, and I'll deliver a routine like that.
Levi, a member of the 2024 Olympic team for the Philippines. Sydney Seabrooks, the freshman now, leading off for North Carolina on beam. We talked about leadoff positions are so important. No leadoff position is more important than balance beam, and you got a freshman in that spot.
Yeah, it's a tall order for a freshman. It's one thing to do it all season long, but it's another thing to do it at regionals when so much is on the line. Looks like she's a little nervous. I'm seeing those small adjustments after each of her skills.
Sophie Parenti on floor exercise for Michigan. Not a position they thought they would be in after one rotation, at the bottom of the standings.
Left-hand side of your screen, Sydney. Again, just a freshman. I love the way she's just attacking this beam routine. A lot of dynamic elements in this routine. Coaches say she just brings so much confidence to this team, especially on beam. Nice stuck double pike, right-hand side of your screen, and a good landing from Sydney as well. We're heating up, John.
Yeah, maybe getting some of those nerves out in that first rotation for these teams, and now maybe finding their stride.
Sophie's just a sophomore, but she's competed a lot since her time at Michigan. Really clean gymnastics all around.
Sophomore London Vandertool in the second gymnast to go for Utah State following a 9.825. Good start.
So great to see London, left-hand side of your screen, Yurchenko full, do so well. I actually knew her as a younger athlete, and she's always been such a superstar, such a hard worker.
Young Ru Evivar for Stanford led off with a 9.85, so great start there as well. Question is, which one of these teams is going to take that solid start and build?
You see those 9.825s, 9.85 scores. You talk about building. I think it's those athletes that can put up strong numbers at the beginning. I think those teams are going to be the ones that have the advantage.
Ava Sorrento, the second gymnast for Stanford on bars out of Ontario, Canada.
Nice handstand, just holding it, placing it in the correct spot.
Left hand of your screen, Claire Stipik, the senior in the 2 spot. 9.75 to start for Seabrooks. Want to build on that. Don't want to count that if you're the Tar Heels.
Quickly, right-hand side of your screen, she is doing a phenomenal job just clocking in all of these handstands, super clean. One step on the dismount, but that's going to be a good score for Stanford. They are an excellent bar team. Back handspring, layout. I love the difficulty, triple series. A little second guessing on the landing.
Parenti 9.85 for Michigan in the leadoff spot. Peyton Davis now number 2 to go up.
Finishing left-hand side of your screen, one step on the dismount. UNC, you've got to continue to take advantage of how strong they started. They really need to lock in on those landings.
Yeah, that is a difference maker, especially in the postseason. We've seen it all regular season, but now, especially if you're the underdog, those little things you've got to take advantage of. You got to stick more than your opponent if you want to pull the upset.
Peyton Davis with the Sophie Tucker floor music. I love this song.
Aliana Valdez from Huntington Beach, California, left hand of your screen on vault.
Good, Yurchenko full. Strong vaults. You can see how far and how much distance she got. Double pike. Her front foot came up. Judges want to see you keep your front foot planted on the ground.
So we do have a rules analyst for the first time, I think ever, in the sport of gymnastics. Mary Jo Rohrig. She is a 30-year veteran judge, 20 years as a collegiate judge as well. Mary Jo, we talked about that landing. Your thoughts on what Sam had just said?
I really am quite impressed with all of the athletes here today. And being the rules analyst, I'll tell you what, these judges are on point today. So we got to give a good kudos to them as well.
What do you think about her heel being up on that landing?
If the judges noticed it amongst all the everything going on, maybe a half a tenth, maybe a 0.05.
Okay, not a major deduction, but definitely something to note, especially when it's going to come critical times here.
Yeah,
right, that'll help separate the athletes.
And
sure.
I think that's one thing. We're going to come back to you as much as we can today and talk about those landings and the difference between a half and a 1. And that one is a 0. I even can figure that one out. Sienna Robinson, right hand of your screen, absolutely smoked that bars landing as we see Hannah Aoki on the balance beam for North Carolina in the third spot.
Hannah had a wobble after her series, recovered after that. It's really important for UNC to start putting up those 9-8 plus scores to stay in the mix here.
Yeah, 2 9-7s to start. They're going to have to count one of them. Again, top 5 scores count in each event, so they are going to count a 9-7. Again, that is not the score you want to count to advance. And it looks like it might be a third 9-7, Sam.
Yeah, it's those steps on the landing, those really add up.
Michigan, on the other hand, on floor exercise, a couple of 9-8s, mid 9-8s to get things going. Sophia Diaz, tremendous gymnast here in the third spot. This is an opportunity to roll up some 9-9s if you're Michigan.
Last meet, Sophia got a 9-9. We need to see those in this meet. We need to see those 9-9s.
Yeah, only 2 scores in the 9-9 so far. Kaylee Medrano for Utah State, left hand of your screen.
Good. I liked her straight arms. Good block off the table. These Michigan routines are so fun. You can't help but dance in your chair a little bit.
Sophia, 2-time junior national all-around champion, so came into college with a pedigree, and she has definitely shown it just in her second season.
Big combination pass, 1.5 to a back layout, step out. Big leaps. She got her leaps all the way around. Judges are really looking for that as well. That is going to be a good score for Michigan.
North Carolina on beam, they are in a very important moment of this competition. Aoki, a 9.625. We said you can't count 9-7s. Well, guess what? You really can't count 9-6s. The meet this close. 3 gymnasts yet to go. They still have yet to break a 9-8. You've got to get 3 9-8s. If you're the Tar Heels, other teams are starting to move, including Stanford. 3 9.85s, and the number 20 ranked gymnast in the country, Anna Roberts, comes up.
And she is incredible. She is so clean on this event. Just every single position is textbook. Van Leeuwen up to the high bar. Quick cast handstand. Fast routine. Easy duck landing there.
Uh-oh, trouble.
Oh, no, left-hand side of the screen. I saw that out of the corner of my eye, and she was so crooked going into that series.
And that moment right there, the fall on beam from Gwen Fink while Anna Roberts was absolutely smoking that double layout, is kind of a snapshot of this rotation. North Carolina faltering on beam while the big dogs like Stanford surge here in rotation number 2.
And this athlete right here is phenomenal on balance beam typically. Good, strong finish. She's all ACC championship team on beam and AAI award nominee. Here's that series where it went wrong. By handspring layout, she was completely crooked. Going into that last layout, just couldn't adjust enough to stay on the beam.
And that at a moment, I mentioned Stanford surging, so is Michigan. Sophia Diaz, a 9.9. Those have been hard to come by today, and now Carly Bauman. Left hand of your screen, Isabella Vader in the 5 spot for Utah State.
She's their only 10-0 start value, full on pike off. Oh man, so close to that stuck landing. That ball is really tricky to get a good block off the table. Good job from Carly getting her leaps all the way around. That's up to a 10th deduction if you don't get them all the way rotated.
Anna Roberts with the second 9.9 for Stanford in this competition. And they have 2 yet to go.
Beautiful. Such an experienced athlete. She was actually part of Michigan's last national championship team, hoping to have more success in her final year here at Michigan.
Yeah, she's tied for the 11th ranking in the nation after the regular season on this event.
She's one of just 7 AAI award finalists, and that's just one example of why.
Now maybe the whole meet riding on a couple of routines for North Carolina. Gwen Fink, a 9.125. They're counting 2 scores in the 9.7s, 1 in the 9.6s. They're already in trouble. And if Cameron Rueda and JoJo Valahovic cannot put up big numbers, it might be curtains for the Tar Heels. Anna Barbosu, the 5th gymnast to go for Stanford, follows a 9.9 from Roberts.
Big Shang release move into that pack salto, straight up to the high bar. Short on that Van Leeuwen right-hand side of your screen, but she's making it work. Having to fight for this bar routine, but no problems on the landing. Very difficult bar routine there. Good front tuck. I really appreciate that this UNC team is bringing so much difficulty to balance beam. You do not have to do all of these triple series, these front tucks. There's simpler ways to get the bonus, but they're pushing the boundaries, and I really like to see that. Good round off double full. They needed that hit routine.
Had to have that hit routine. There was no question about it. Pair of 9.9s for Michigan, as their 5th gymnast, Quincy Walters, takes to the floor. Stanford and Michigan, basically a 4-way tie after the first rotation, but those two teams starting to create some separation here in the second rotation. Nyla Morabito, left hand to your screen for Utah State. Final vaulter.
Really big Yurchenko full. I love how she extended her hips, really flared it out before landing. That should be a really good score for Utah State to finish things out.
Yeah, maybe their highest score of the rotation.
Combination passes, really clean landings. Yep, that's going to be another good score for Michigan. And I think you can just see almost them taking a breath. You can feel it from their corral.
In the anchor spot for North Carolina, JoJo Valahovic, the sophomore. Doubt there's been a bigger pressure moment for her in her 2-year career at North Carolina, following that 9.8 from Rueda. Maybe a meet-saving 9.8.
Beautiful back handspring layout. Saw that bobble after her full turn, and you can see her visibly talking herself through this routine. Sometimes you need to get your mind back into focus.
Uisoma in the anchor position for Stanford. 9.875 for Barbosu, so not quite that 9.9, but still solid rotation, looking for that exclamation point.
Good handstand, holding that position, really floating to the high bar. This is stunning so far. Left-hand side of your screen, stuck dismount from UNC. Again, they needed that to stay in this conversation. Just the dismount. Can she stick it? A small hop. Very clean, good execution on the bar. That's going to be a good score. Not as high as we've seen or what she could do because that hop on the dismount, but Stanford needed that to get a little bit more cushion in this competition.
As each of these teams finish their 6 athletes, we get to the individuals. This is Jocelyn Lannon, the freshman from Towson.
big. Yurchenko 1.5. Good power on that. Just some form issues in the air.
Cesara Ranger in the anchor spot. 3 9.9s in a row. Can Cesara Ranger go higher?
Big double layout. There you see the yellow flag. That's the 1/10, unfortunately. Except I thought it looked like she kept her heel up. Maybe the judge saw something I didn't. Even without Cesara's score, you can see the separation between Michigan and Stanford right now. Front layout into a double back. No issues with that landing.
Celia Trotter, left-hand to your screen from Towson, the senior out of Nashville, Tennessee. Let It Shine Gymnastics, not too far from where I live. For Towson.
Good extension on her legs and knees, really pushing through the balls of her feet as she goes for that layout step out. Beautifully done.
Our individual on bars also from Towson, 14th ranked gymnast in the nation on this event, Isabella Minervini.
You know, the hard part about being an individual is that you're competing at the same time as your teammates, so you can't cheer for each other. But they're both doing a really good job making each other proud. That was phenomenal. Love to see that double layout stick.
Oh, what a save.
Oh, wow. Again, I love the uniqueness that I'm seeing from not just some of these athletes in the competition. We saw a lot of that yesterday from the teams competing as well. Good finish.
So we mentioned these individuals trying to qualify to the NCAA championships as well. They can do it. It's not easy. You have to be the top gymnast on your event or in the all-around after the teams have advanced. So once the two teams have advanced, outside of those athletes, the number one gymnast on each individual event and the all-around will advance to the NCAA championship. Very difficult to do. You got to be sensational. Here's Serena Mullen from New Hampshire on floor exercise.
Opens with the front tuck into a double back.
You can see the score tower. Michigan and Stanford move to the first and second position respectively. Utah State, North Carolina now trying to chase them down. 0.325 behind for Utah State. North Carolina 0.525 behind that second spot. They've now got some work to do.
I'm loving the performance quality of this routine. Finishing combination pass, legs separated there, but curious where the judges are sitting, what they saw. Overall, strong routine, really fun to watch.
Nicely done. If you're wondering, what's a good score for an individual to qualify to the NCAA championships, it really feels like, Sam, 995 is the floor. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about being the number one gymnast out of the regional on that event outside of the teams qualifying, it has got to be a career type of performance.
And we really haven't seen those today yet. I'm going to say yet. So we'll see. Hopefully scores start building. These athletes start getting a little bit more comfortable working out those nervous kinks. And I'm willing to bet by the end of this session, we will see at least a 995 or two. certainly athletes in this competition are capable of that. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Isabella Minervini from Towson, ranked 14th in the nation on bars, just put up a 9.825 though there. That will not do it most likely, but she is doing the all-around, so that is still an opportunity for her. Here are your individual event scores for the individual performers. High score in that rotation was from all-arounder Serena Mullen for that floor exercise routine. You can also see those all-around totals, her and Minervini going toe-to-toe for the individual all-arounders here this afternoon. But that is going to do it for the second rotation. We're halfway through, and the top-seeded teams, are they starting to separate themselves? Or is the upset still in the making? North Carolina, Utah State, they've got some work to do. 2 rotations are behind us here in Baton Rouge, and after one rotation, it was deadlocked, but now the top-seeded teams, Michigan and Stanford, starting to create some separation. .325 is Stanford ahead of Utah State, and .525 are the Cardinal ahead of the Tar Heels. And speaking of the Tar Heels, Dana Durante has done a tremendous job since she's arrived in Chapel Hill, Sam. And what is it about her and her approach that you really like?
I really like their ability to talk about their goals. She said in August they put on their vision board that they want to make regional finals. She said we have to talk about it because we haven't been there. That's where our mind is set, and I believe in them. This team can do it, and they're a little bit behind in the competition right now, but the meet's not over. They're not that behind. It's still a possibility, and they're breaking records this year and continue to improve from year to year, and I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, Dana Durante, the 2025 ACC Coach of the Year. I talked to the head coach of LSU about North Carolina last year, and his words were he feels like North Carolina is a sleeping giant, meaning they have greatness in them, and just watch out because in the years to come they're going to start to get top athletes and they're going to continue to grow. They go to floor exercise next, and they are led by Sydney Brooks on that event. She is ranked 9th in the nation, tied for 9th in the nation on that event. They're going to lean on her heavily, Sam.
Yeah, she is such an aggressive and dynamic athlete to watch, and she's just a freshman. So her execution is solid, and she brings such confidence to this roster, and you're going to see that permeate through the rest of the team.
So they go to floor exercise next. Can the Tar Heels pull the upset? Hey, you can't be dramatic unless you make a big comeback, and that's what's in store. Can they do it? Welcome back, John Roethlisberger, Sam Pesek, and our rules analyst, Mary Jo Rohrig. We have got a good one here today, and we've got a lot of great gymnastics coming up. The NCAA Gymnastics Regionals continue tonight on ESPN+. You can catch the Temple Regional second round at 4 p.m. Eastern and 10. The first round of the Corvallis Regional at 5. Then the second session of Baton Rouge Regional at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be fantastic. For more information, visit NCAA.com and home for all NCAA championships. So in that last rotation, I mentioned our rules analyst, Mary Jo, and we're going to analyze this right here because her score got raised because they determined she did not go out.
Her heel did not come down over the line. She was stepping on the front of the line, but her heel never actually came down, crossing over the outside of the line. So they gave her that out of bounds back. Good call on that inquiry.
That's interesting because you can't see the other side of her foot in the video replay. And the judge who raised her flag can see that. And I'm curious because it's not clear and obvious to me what her other side of her foot's doing. So to overturn it kind of surprises me a little bit.
Well, a little bit, but when they're landing on that soft mat, that mat comes up a little bit, so it could be a little bit of an illusion. But as we saw on the close-up, her heel did not come down on the outside of that line.
So different subject. You ever known any coaches to play a little gamesmanship and maybe cheat that mat out a little bit to give themselves a couple extra inches of floor, Mary Jo?
Never.
No way. Well, that raised Jazara Ranger's score by a 10th. That raised Michigan's team score by .025, and you think, big deal. Well, we saw an SEC championship not long ago that was won by .025, an ACC championship as well. So that .025 can mean a lot. Here is your teams and where they are going here in that next rotation. Michigan vault, Utah State bars, Stanford beam, and North Carolina floor exercise. And first up in this third rotation is Sydney Jellin, the junior for Utah State. Utah State and North Carolina, they have got to swing for the fences. Home runs are what you want. Base hits. You're not going to base hit your way back into this. You got to hit big ones.
Oh, when she is aggressive, and she is aggressive right now, she is on. Beautiful double out. I asked head coach Kristen White, what do you like about her in the leadoff? And she goes, oh, she is just the best leadoff, and the team feeds off of that. So I'm excited to see the rest of their lineup.
Peyton Davis for Michigan on vault. This will be interesting. Vault can be a lower scoring event.
Yurchenko full, good positions in the air, hop back on the landing. That's going to be a decent leadoff score.
And what does that mean for a team like Utah State? They've already gone to vault. If that indeed continues to be a lower scoring event, they're trying to make up .325. Yep. Can they take advantage of that? Actually be .35 over Michigan. So good opportunity for Utah State. Good start for them as well. North Carolina's Claire Stipik in the leadoff spot here. They've got more ground to make up than Utah State does. .525 after the second rotation on the number 2 team, Stanford, which is left hand of your screen. That's Claire Dean.
Right hand side of your screen has to keep that front foot planted. You don't want to pick the heel up. Claire, great recovery save. She was about to be off the beam, put her foot down, and just continued to move on, really minimizing those deductions.
Claire, part of the ACC All-Championship team, and that save right there, that in the leadoff spot, could have been a meat-saving save.
Yeah, and this is a leadoff spot that she's comfortable in. Left-hand side of your screen, gearing up for that dismount. And that's why she's comfortable in the leadoff, because even when there's a little mistake, she put her foot back on, she continued the routine, and she's bringing the energy back to that corral. This is a really tricky series. Side aerial, back layout, and you can see she was really landing on that one leg. Didn't get her upper body up enough. Again, no extra points for landing on one leg, but that is incredibly difficult to save.
Senior Reina Gugino, only one of 2 athletes to score a 10 in a leadoff position on an event.
And it's like every time Michigan needs a stick from her, she delivers. I saw her struggle in warm-up on this, and then she salutes and no issues there. That is phenomenal.
Her fiance, Olympic bronze medalist Paul Judah, is in the house. He's loving that. Here's Isabella Vader following a 9.85 in the leadoff spot from Jellin.
Good handstand. You can see her putting a lot of pressure on the bar. That's how you know it's an aggressive, and they're really going for it.
That big step on the dismount, though, that is going to be costly. And to meet this close for Utah State, they have got to clean up things like that. We go over to the beam. Temple Landry follows Dean's 9.85. Good start. Coming
off of a really good 9.925 at ACC. Shared the beam title with her teammate, Sienna Robinson. And I talk about how Stanford's a really good bar team. They're also a really good beam team. Beautiful back handspring layout. Soft knees on that back handspring. Beautiful, holding those finish position, losing sight of the beam on that ring jump. Something that head coach Tabitha Yim told us was that they've been really working on the details here, and specifically the amplitude off the beam. And I'm noticing that in her leaps, in her acro skills. Good gainer pike off the end of the beam. That's going to be solid for Stanford.
Senior Gwen Fink, an AAI award nominee. Senior in the 2 spot. 9.75 for Stipik in the leadoffs. Got to go bigger. They have got to count all 9.8 pluses, probably some 9.9s the rest of the way if they want to make some magic happen.
Opening front touch to that double back.
(9.9) for Gugino on vault. Here's Audrey Sanger, left hand to your screen for Michigan.
Yurchenko full. Wow, that was very interesting. I'd actually like to ask our rules analyst on this Yurchenko full. She stuck the landing but had such a deep squat. I'm curious what the deductions might be on that. Hopefully we can go back to it later. UNC has been really proud of their improvement on execution on floor. They're such a strong, dynamic floor team. It's been a strength of theirs this season.
Tied for the 20th ranking in the nation, Sienna Robinson. She's following a 9.9. Scores building here for Stanford. This is a textbook rotation for them. If they can continue to build, they're going to finish with some big time numbers at the end. Olivia Arango, the third gymnast, following that 9.725 for Utah State. That's trouble. You're counting that score.
Left-hand side of your screen, Sienna Robinson. Just such a natural beam worker. The way that she's able to transition so effortlessly between those skills. Good double layout, right-hand side of your screen. Sienna was the ACC Specialist of the Year. She's one of the captains this year. Get ready for this. Little moonwalk action right before her dismount. I imagine that to be so difficult in a competition. Of course, you don't get extra credit, just the coolness points of being able to do the moonwalk on the beam, but good routine from Sienna.
Hannah Aoki for North Carolina will be the next gymnast to go on floor exercise. Fink, a 9.8. So scores building here for North Carolina. They've got to continue to build, and they're also going to need maybe a few small mistakes from the Wolverines and the Cardinal in particular. Ava Jordan will be the fourth vaulter to go. Audrey Sanger, a 9.7. So that deep knee bend on that landing cost her there.
Doing a Yurchenko layup full. She's so incredibly clean on this vault. Big step on the dismount, but you can see from this angle just how high she got off the table.
That was a big, kind of awkward step there at the end. Be surprised if that's not at least a 2/10 deduction there, which means maybe a little bit of an opportunity for North Carolina. Michigan counts a 9.7, and North Carolina can count all 9.8s, maybe a couple 9.9s, maybe, just maybe, close that gap a little bit.
These landings are crucial for UNC, and you talk about having a fighting chance, and it's those landings that really kind of set them apart and make it harder for them to make that climb up.
Levi Young, Root Evivar. The fourth gymnast now, a 9.8. That's the low score for Stanford in this rotation from Robinson, but they've got 3 tremendous routines to finish here.
Levi is such an artistic gymnast, and you can see that from every little movement on her dance, just the expression that she brings to beam, but also on floor. Beautiful front aerial beat jump. Doing a side aerial back handspring. Oh, man. Big mistake from Stanford. Left-hand side of your screen with that 5-10 fall.
Right hand of your screen is Avery Bibby from Utah State, 4th to go on that event.
We're seeing some mistakes across the board here. Every team seemed like they started really strong, but those bobbles are hopping in.
So disappointing beam routine. Let's bring in our rules analyst.
Now she doesn't land either feet on the beam, so she will get no value for that back handspring skill. So therefore, she will have no flight series, which we will see reflected in her start value.
And you can see from the aerial just how off her heels were. She actually tried to pull it back on, but was too far gone. That's going to be a struggle with her score.
One team's misfortune is another team's opportunity. Can North Carolina, can Utah State take advantage? Here's Sophia Diaz for Michigan. Left hand of your screen.
1.5, right hand side of your screen, full on. We're seeing some big gymnastics back to back here.
A pair of 9.7s for Michigan on vault. They're going to have to count one of them. But, man, an opportunity for North Carolina lost. Hannah Aoki, a 9.675. They needed that to be a mid 9.8, and they would have gained some ground on the Wolverines.
It's just a good reminder to keep fighting. Even if there's one mistake, no team is going to be perfect during any competition, but especially here, you got to keep bringing it every single time you salute, no matter what happens in front of you in the lineup. Little scooch with her heels around. Most likely a 5-10 deduction for not getting it all the way around. Half-10 deduction, excuse me. 0.5 deduction. But a score that they're excited about. You can see them in the corral. This is going to be a building score for UNC.
And still an opportunity for them if they can finish their rotation strong. Michigan, 3 scores in the 9.7, so now they are going to have to count for sure the 9.725 and the 9.75 you can see in the score tower. We'll see who can take advantage of it. This is a meeting at the balance beam right now, and maybe exactly what Mary Jo was talking about on that acro series. Did they give her credit for that? And you can see the graphic on the screen of what ignites a judges conference. London Vandertulen, the 5th athlete to go. Utah State also going to count 2 scores in the 9.7s, but with some tumult around the arena, still an opportunity for the 3rd and 4th team after that second rotation, Utah State and North Carolina.
Good backswing. I like how much height she got on these release moves. Makes it really easy to continue connecting those skills. Short on that handstand. Finishing double back. Clean landing. I like that her chest was vertical, but it's those steps at this stage in the postseason. You have to be patient enough on the landing mat. Save yourself that extra 10. But good backswing. You want your entire body to be parallel to the high bar for no deductions. She did a nice job of that.
Jazara Rangel will be the anchor position for Michigan on vault. It's going to be a big vault, an important vault for the Wolverines.
She really spent time in the preseason cleaning up her vault, cleaning up this Yurchenko 1.5.
Sydney Seabrooks now. tied for the 9th ranking in the nation on this event. She follows Kaya Forbes 9.85. This has got to be big. Finish with a couple of 9.9s here, and could North Carolina still make this interesting?
Oh, this is a fun routine. Get ready for this, John. Can you believe she's just a freshman?
Cesaro Ranger, left hand to your screen.
Left-hand side of your screen, Yurchenko 1.5. Really important. She's clean on the landing. Held on to that right foot, but that looked like a pretty medium to large step to me.
That
Probably
looked like
210.
Yeah, that looked like a 210 step if there ever was one. We'll see what the judges decide.
Legs beautiful together in those twisting passes. Toes pointed. Love the details there.
I'm going to say something crazy, Sam, and you're going to probably think I'm ridiculous, but she reminds me of a fellow UCLA Bruin, meaning fellow you're a Bruin as well. Caitlin Ohashi. Do I see a little Caitlin Ohashi spirit out there on the floor?
She does look like she has a fun spirit like Kaylin. They're both great dancers. They're both captivating to watch. That performance quality, man, you can't help but smile.
In the anchor spot for Utah State. Charlie Laufer now following another score in the 9.7s for the Aggies. Over on balance beam, Anna Roberts. Following an 8.85. Got to get a big one. A little pressure on the Cardinal now.
Yeah, and also note, it's been a long time since Anna's been waiting to go for this routine. That was a pretty long conference there. So she's really had to keep herself warm, stay mentally sharp before saluting. If there's any athlete you want to go up right now, it's senior Anna Roberts.
Yeah, tied for 13th in the nation on this event.
She's been tested before this season, been in some critical positions, hasn't had a problem with it so far. And actually, head coach Tabitha Yim said because of those moments, she could tell that Anna's confidence grew on this event. Oh. Really just lost her balance. Thought she had her foot placement. She's got to repeat it in order to get that 10-0 start value. No problems. Trying again. Sometimes that can turn into a second mistake. Not for Anna.
A big deduction for that wobble, Sam, but saved a much bigger deduction. Could have been catastrophic for the Cardinal.
Well, she knows that her score is going to count regardless.
Cameron Rueda on floor exercise as Anna Roberts finished up. Left hand to your screen. Rueda following a 9.925 for Seabrooks, giving life to the Tar Heels. The highest score on that event so far today.
Big double back opening. I think she almost double backed out of the frame. That's how high she got. Judges want to see full 180 split on those leaps.
Serena Mullen, left hand of your screen, the New Hampshire gymnast, competing all around today.
Good finish. Both. I hope your eyes can see two things at once, because mine saw clean landings in both boxes there. UNC hoping scores continue to build. If they do, and this is going to be another good score for UNC. Saw some leap deductions in there, but tumbling was on point, so they're staying in this.
It really looks like they could track down Utah State in this rotation. Almost certainly, you see Utah State counting 3 scores in the 9.7s and then a 9.8 and a 9.85. Pending that Rueda score Could UNC at least catch Utah State and get close enough to the top two to make him move in that final rotation? It's going to be interesting. Individual competing on bars. Haley Copperwheat from Pitt.
Huge Jaeger above the bar. You saw she caught close, really, really close. That's going to be a big deduction, but she caught it.
And the pressure on Anna Barbosu, the freshman, following a 9.725 from Anna Roberts. Saved a catastrophe there, but they're trying to avoid counting that 8.85. It's going to take a hit routine from Barbosu.
Nice front tuck into a back handspring swing down, and she is just a freshman, but she's competed at the Olympic Games, so she has felt pressure. I will say, having done both the Olympic Games and NCAA gymnastics, the pressure of NCAA gymnastics is quite different. Competing for your team that's standing right there, it's not the same, so hoping right now for her that it translates.
Bottom right of your screen in that score tower, Cameron Rueda, a 9.9. What a finish with a flurry for North Carolina, and they will move ahead of Utah State. Isabella DeCruz on the floor, exercise for Towson, right hand of your screen.
Left hand side of your screen, round of double full to a stuck landing. The pressure did translate for Anna because she nailed that, and they're going to be able to count that score.
That'll keep them in the top two. The question is, how far ahead of North Carolina will that put them, and can the Tar Heels catch them?
Front full, front layout. You see a lot of finger points from coach there. She was all Eagle, first team, vault, floor. Even's been Eagle Specialist of the Week.
Towson finished the season 41st ranked team in the nation. Their head coach, Jay Ramirez, in his 7th season, doing a nice job with that program. Back over to the uneven bars, the second Pitt gymnast to go as an individual here. This is Jamie Pratt.
Want to see all the way up. Her heels look like they're just a bit shy of the handstand.
Left hand of your screen for Towson, doing the all-around today. Isabella Minervini, the All-American.
Again, rushing those casts. Right hand side of your screen, but beautiful form on that double layout dismount. Back handspring to the side aerial. Like to see her straighten those arms on the back handspring. Really difficult to finish sideways on your leaps. There's nothing to spot. As you all may know, if you've heard me commentate before, the #1 rule of beam is look at the end of the beam. Some skills, of course, you have to lose sight of the beam, and that's what makes them incredibly difficult.
Right hand of your screen, Stanford and Michigan are going to stay in the top two. North Carolina, Utah State swap positions. It was Utah State 0.325 behind the second position. Now it's North Carolina 0.325 behind that second spot, and Utah State 1/10 behind them.
Big tuck full in.
Adriana Hoffman for Towson on the floor, exercise the senior.
Yeah, she can tumble. front tuck into the double back. Had enough time to open up before the landing.
We got the Towson crew just to our left over here, the gymnasts and the coaches, and they're as loud as any group in the arena.
You have to be. When you don't get to bring all of your teammates, you have to cheer like you're 4 people in one. And you can see them high-fiving the UNC athletes. I would say the teams do a really good job of cheering for those individual athletes, making them feel like they have a team away from themselves.
Yeah, I got to love that as well. Wrapping up the third rotation, and it has been an interesting one to say the least. We thought it was going to be super tight after that first rotation. It was. And it separated a little bit as we see North Carolina. They're going to have to rally. They're .325 now behind second place Michigan. And North Carolina going to vault, and we've seen it. It's easy to take a step, and it's also pretty easy to take a 2/10 step. That's a big deduction in women's collegiate gymnastics, and it seems like none of these teams have been able to avoid it on that event. North Carolina is going to have to avoid it if they want to make a run. As we look at the individual scores here from that rotation, a couple all-arounders in there. The high score of that rotation, Minervini on beam and Hoffman on floor exercise, both Towson gymnasts. The postseason here started with 36 teams. Now it's 4. Only one will be the national champion.
Nothing compares to an NCAA team title.
Opening pass again, beautiful.
Look at that. If you look closely, she's smiling when she does that.
Hoping for a stick here.
They needed that.
That's why she's an Olympic champion.
And look how she's able to deliver. It doesn't even matter. That was rock star status beam routine. She just drills the landing.
Audrey Davis, exceptional bar routine, exceptional gymnast.
The moment belongs to Oklahoma. Now, the road to redemption for the Sooners is complete. And the road leads to Fort Worth again. That is where the championship will be decided. It starts Thursday, April 16th with the semifinals at 4:30 and 9 Eastern on ESPN2. Then on Saturday, April 18th, you can catch all the championship action on ABC starting at 3:30 Eastern time with the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship preview show with our own Taylor Davis, by the way. And then the finals get underway at 4 p.m. What a great time that will be. Welcome back inside the PMAC here in Baton Rouge. The biggest crowds in women's gymnastics come here all regular season. I suspect tonight we'll see a big one when LSU takes the floor. But right now we have got some drama unfolding here as we head to the fourth and final rotation. And this is what our bracket looks like. 2 of these teams. Can it be Stanford and Michigan? Right now they're in that top 2 spot. 2 teams advance. Doesn't matter if you win. You just got to make it to the finals. Can LSU and Clemson hold serve and advance? We'll find out later as well. Session 2 should be a good one, Sam. We mentioned LSU, the top-seeded team in this region. What else do you like?
Well, Clemson has been building. They look really strong, especially at this back half of the season, winning that ACC championship title. But we talked to Auburn's head coach, Jeff Graba, and he said that this team has not hit their stride yet, and there's a lot left in the tank. So I want to see their full potential, similar with Nebraska again here tonight, too. 4th
straight second-round appearance for the Nebraska Cornhuskers as well. So we head into this fourth and final rotation. North Carolina goes to the vault. They're going to have to be lights out. We saw Nebraska in round 1 stick 4 vaults. It feels like it's going to be that type of performance that's going to be required from the Tar Heels to make some magic.
I think the most important thing for them is for that first vaulter to have a really strong start, dynamic vault, and then stick the landing, because you want to hope that becomes contagious like we saw with Nebraska. That's their only hope, in my opinion, because vault has been a lower scoring event throughout this meet, throughout the season, and that's what I think they got to do.
Yeah, and then the last rotation, we saw Stanford avert catastrophe on beam. They had a fall, and then they had a wobble, but they got it together good enough to stay in that top spot.
Yeah, Levi on our series just didn't get full strength, didn't push fully out of that back leg, had a fall, and really showed up in her score. Then another wobble from Anna Roberts, and Anna Barbosu came back so strong, though. A lot of pressure on that routine, and she was able to handle it. This was also a highlight for me. UNC Sydney Seabrooks, really good tumbling passes. A little wobbly on that landing, but the performance quality makes up for it in my mind, not always in the judge's mind, but she's just so fun to watch start to finish, a complete performance there.
Yeah, Sydney Seabrooks and Cammie Rueda for North Carolina deliver hope with those last two routines, both 9.9 or better. And that puts them .325, as you can see, as we went through the competition today. So close after the first, but then Michigan, Stanford holding on to the top two spots heading into this fourth and final rotation. So North Carolina, they go to vault. A tough place to get big scores, Sam, but that's their highest ranked individual event, 11. So we'll see. It's really, to me, it's going to be North Carolina's vault against Michigan's bars. Yes, Utah State's only a 10th behind North Carolina, but they are on beam, and it feels like, you know, again, it could be Utah State from the fourth spot, but they're all facing off against that Michigan bar rotation, in my opinion. Stanford on floor, 5th in the country. Let's just say they do what they're supposed to do. It's going to come down to whether Michigan can hold off the Tar Heels and the Aggies.
Well, UNC only has two 10-0 start value vaults, so they're actually starting at a disadvantage because most of their vaults aren't even from that 10-0 start value. So the key for them is precision on the landings.
Paige Prejean in the leadoff spot. Look for stuck landings. That equals hope.
They're doing a full. That is exactly how you want to start. Good open hips in the air. Little bobble with the upper body, but man, that was pretty much as good as they could do it.
So good start now. Lily Clapper, pressure on Michigan. Can they get off to a good start? Oh, fingertip grab, Sam.
Jaeger.
And another save.
Wow, that was willpower right there. She had to use every single muscle in her finger to pull that back on. I cannot believe she's on the bar here. Way to finish strong, and I cannot believe, again, that she is off the bar from that cast handstand.
The seniors showing some veteran savvy. But how about this fingertip grab?
It was so far away from the bar, she had to extend, and I think it threw her off because she had so much power and momentum in that tip for the handstand, and recovered as beautifully as you could. Man, that was great job from leadoff Lily Clapper.
Sienna Robinson for Stanford now in the leadoff spot. Can the drama get any better?
Sienna opens with double back. I think similar to UNC Sydney Seabrook, this is such a fun routine. She's got a hip hop routine, difficult turns. That leg up turn is actually called a Memel from one of my Olympic teammates, Chelsea Memel.
In case you were wondering, Stanford, how far are they ahead of North Carolina after that last rotation? They're a half point ahead, so they got a bigger cushion to work with. Now Nev King, 9-8 from Prejean. They need to build from there.
Left-hand side of your screen, another Yurchenko full, another clean landing. The question for me is it going to be enough? I think they still need Michigan not to be at their best in order to have a real shot here, but they're doing everything they can. Stanford, Sienna Robinson getting the job done here in the leadoff position for her team.
Lily Clapper from Michigan, a 9.7 for that bar routine. So 1/10 advantage for North Carolina. Now remember, you can drop that low score. We'll see how that plays out. Let's go back over to balance beam now. 9.825 in the leadoff spot for Jelen.
Oh.
Arango now in the 2 spot.
That was supposed to be a connected series. She broke the connection, is going to try it again. There she goes, gets it round 2.
Sophia Diaz, right hand of your screen. final touches to her grips as she gets ready to mount the bars. The sophomore, tremendous gymnast, but the pressure of this moment is big for anybody.
Well, last meet, she got a 9.9 on this bar routine. Really good rhythm in this bar routine so far. That means she's taking it one skill at a time, not getting ahead of herself. Left-hand side of your screen, finishing 1.5, hop back, dismounting Sophia Diaz.
Oh,
that is a good one.
She is a professional. Ice in her veins.
Yeah, look at this. Her legs are going to be glued together. Perfect timing. Body shape completely parallel with the floor. High enough for judges not to take a deduction. Just splits it slightly before she lands, but that is going to be 9.9 plus routine right there.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. It feels like a 9.9, which does not bode well for North Carolina. Here's Gwen Fink. 9.825 from King. That's good, but clearly going to have to do better.
First year competing this 1.5 all year long. Incredible landing there.
Alana Walker on floor exercise for Stanford. Robinson, a 9.85. Stanford just needs to stay on their feet, and this is going to be a walk to the regional finals. The drama really unfolding on the other events.
Really doing a good job placing her feet down, not even thinking about moving at the end. Getting those leaps all the way rotated. We've noticed the judges having a heightened awareness to those rotated leaps this year. Front tuck into that double back. Solid. You said it, John. No drama with this Stanford team. They just got to stay on their feet. I think they need 3 more hit routines, and they're in the clear.
Here's another look at that Gwen Fink vault, which got a 9.9. That is a career-high score for her.
Good block off the table. She just sends it at the right time. Opens. Knew exactly where she was to be perfectly vertical. Just a little scooch with one of her heels.
So they had a Nev King season high of a 9.825, then a Gwen Fink career high of a 9.9. That puts the pressure on Michigan. Sophia Diaz doesn't get the 9.9. We thought she was going to get, Sam, but it's close, a 9.875. Certainly good enough. Here's Audrey Sanger. Got to keep that momentum.
Yeah, first handstand, a little shy. Curious if the judges think it's within that 10-degree window. That one most certainly is not. She's swinging tight. That's usually what happens when you're nervous. Working for this last one. Got to minimize the dismount landing.
Sydney Seabrook's left hand going toe-to-toe with Michigan. Oh, big hop.
Man, it's tough. When you see your teammate stick the landing and you have so much adrenaline, you know a lot is on the line. It's a really tough spot to be in for UNC on vault.
Yeah, they really needed a cleaner landing from Seabrooks on that. They have a low of a 9.8, which is good, but right now it feels like a 9.8 even is not a score North Carolina wants to count.
Well, they were coming into this rotation behind, so not only do they need to keep pace from this rotation, they have a little bit of making up to do, so they really need to get a couple more 9.9s to stay in this.
Terrelyn Wynn now on floor exercise. Alana Walker, a 9.95 becomes the highest score on floor exercise so far in this competition. Utah State Aliana Valdez takes to the beam. They are in trouble because they are counting a 9-6-7-5. It feels like all hope is lost for Utah State unless two of the top teams, meaning Stanford and Michigan, both have meltdowns of sorts.
Carolyn opening big double layout, floating to the ground. Love to see that.
(9-7-5) from Seabrooks for that ball. Oh, that one just feels like one that slipped away. That was a big Yurchenko full. A stuck landing there certainly would have gained at least a half a tenth, maybe a full tenth on the Wolverines.
Left-hand side of your screen. Aliana, good stuck landing to finish that routine. Utah State's fighting on beam on that last rotation.
Yeah, certainly want to finish with three big routines and finish on a strong note, even if the top two may have slipped out of reach.
Big step back out of that double back, but doesn't go out of bounds.
Valahovic now the next vaulter. She's in the top 20 in the nation on this event. She needs to vault like it's a top 10 vault.
She scored a 9.925 twice in her career. Not today, though.
Going for it, but just not quite there. Overruns it a little bit.
Here's Tara Lynn's last pass, front tuck into a double back. She should have opened right there. That's how high she was in the air. Didn't quite realize how high she was off the floor. Big lunge, but not out of bounds, so saved herself that tenth.
Yeah, definitely keeps it in bounds. That lunge not going to hurt Stanford at this point. They're in a good spot with a 9.85, 9.95. Two more hits, and they're going to advance. Carly Bauman now follows a 9.8 from Sanger. Michigan in a good spot here now as well. If they can just stay on the bar and avoid major errors to finish.
Big straddle Jaeger above the bar. She just makes it look so easy.
Charlie Laufer on beam follows at 9.725 from Valdez for the Aggies.
Big double front. One step on that dismount. I mean, Carly was the Big Ten bars champion in 2023, so she has experience handling that kind of pressure.
Associate head coach Scott Sherman, their bar guru at Michigan, has done a tremendous job. 30 years Scott has been there.
Yep. Beam has really been an event this year for Utah State. That's been a strength for them. They've been getting in their groove.
Levi Young, Ru Ivivar, fourth to go. Follows a 9.9 from Wynn. Comfortable spot to be in with three scores, 9.85 or better for Stanford, and with a half-point cushion. This is an exhibition for them, getting ready for the regional finals.
Really beautiful whip, double back, shy on the rotation of the landing, but similar to echo what you said, John, as long as they stay on their feet, it's really not going to matter for them. But good practice for, hopefully, Saturday's competition.
Valahovic for North Carolina, a 9.75 for her vault. That means they are going to have to count that 9.75. And that is exactly what North Carolina could not afford to do. They only have one vaulter left, Kaya Forbes.
With half front full. The expressiveness in this floor routine is just a different level. Every little detail and the way that she's looking, the intentionality of every movement, it's noticeable.
Maya Whitty, the junior for Utah State, their final gymnast competing at this competition. Not going to be the dream that Utah State wanted.
Back handspring layout. Good triple series. She was just named the MVP of the Mountain West Championships. That's how confident a competitor she's been this year. Even with a few mistakes in front of her, you can just see how solid she is moving through this beam routine.
Elite gymnast for Team Canada. She knows about pressure spots. This is Sophie Parenti in the 5 spot. Feels like she just needs to stay on the bars here. One of these last 2 routines need to be a hit for Michigan, and they're going to advance.
Nice handstand. That release move on the right-hand side of your screen is actually new for her this year. She caught a little close, but not a major deduction.
The 9.625 from Parenti puts Michigan into the regional finals. Flip, stick, and advance is what the Wolverines are going to do with that routine.
Yeah, definitely going to be higher than that 9.6 score. Good clean lines, big dynamic release moves. She is a really fun athlete to watch on all the events she competes on.
We jump over to vault for our individual competitors. This is Paulina Belanovsky from Towson, the senior.
Chenko, layup full, great landing. Just want to see those arms completely straight on the table. She can get even higher than that. We saw her earlier today, taping the ball over her fingers, waiting for that moment.
Here's Anna Roberts on floor for Stanford. By the way, Kaya Forbes anchored the North Carolina vault rotation with the Yurchenko full with the hop. That is where that 9.85 came from, and unfortunately will not be enough for North Carolina to pull off the upset and advance to the regional final.
Good first tumbling pass for Anna Roberts.
Left hand to your screen on the balance beam. That's Maddie Harvey, the sophomore for New Hampshire. She was the EAGL champion on the balance beam this year.
Left hand side of your screen, beautiful triple series, super straight knees all the way through. Anna just coasting through this floor routine. No landing deduction so far. Anna has been incredibly impressive for a number of reasons, but this is actually her second consecutive season that she's set or matched collegiate best scores on all 4 events and the all-around. That is so tough to do.
Yeah, she's been tremendous.
Really good beam routine. Good job, Maddie. What a way to finish. She's been waiting all day to do a beam routine like that.
That is a tough spot to be in, to sit around and watch a whole lot of gymnastics and finally your number's called and you get to go. Miley Liu in the anchor spot for Michigan. This is an exhibition of sorts, if you will.
Good pirouette on top of the bar. Piked Jaeger above the bar. Love to see that. Really controlled rhythm throughout this bar routine. Not getting ahead of herself, finishing tough, full in. Oh, almost looked like she got lost a little at the end there. But regardless, they didn't need that score at all. But good practice for Saturday, because I'm willing to bet that every routine is going to count. She holds it on top of the bar. Piked Jaeger, good distance away from the bar when she caught. this dismount, tuck full in. It almost looks like she got stuck in that position, didn't realize how quick the floor was coming.
So Michigan's day is done, and they got the job accomplished. Wasn't always pretty, but they did it. Now, Stanford, this is an exhibition routine of sorts, too, for Anna Barbosu. Olympic bronze medalist on this event in 2024, at least currently, pending some ongoing talks with Jordan Giles, but tremendous on this event.
More recently, she is the ACC floor champion. Scored a 9.95 last time she competed. You're going to see why, too. She has the performance quality. She has the precision on those landings. Assistant coach Hallie Mazzette, who is actually a teammate of mine at UCLA, does all of their choreography, and she told me that after she won her ACC title, she went up to Hallie and said, I should really be giving my flowers to you, because in just 2 short weeks you created this floor routine that was so indicative of my personality, and she was so grateful of that. And coaches just say how humble of an athlete she is for the incredible accolades she has. Starting off strong with that whip to double back. The composure she has throughout this routine. Finishing nicely with that stuck landing.
Serena Mullen on the uneven bars for New Hampshire. Right now the high score on this event is 9.9, so that means probably going to have to do better than that, most likely, if you want to make it to the NCAA championships.
The important thing is those handstands and landings. You want to milk every little aspect of this routine. Big, high, tuck full and dismount.
Big air on that dismount, Sam. You said it.
Yeah, she's a stud of an athlete.
The 2025 team MVP for New Hampshire. Well, she's like 6 rows up there if you look at it.
But you see her eyes spotting the ground for a long time. That's what helps her hold on to that stick position.
Final performer in this session of round 2 in Baton Rouge. Isabella Minervini from Towson, competing the all-around today.
Opens front layout, Rudy, combination. You know, it's important to note that all the equipment at different arenas feel slightly different. So the bounce of the floor changes. And I was in the bathroom before this meet started. I probably shouldn't be sharing some of this tea, but I overheard some of the gymnasts say, how's the floor? And the other athlete said, it's really hard, but we're going to make do. And so I think it's just an important thing to remember, all the little adjustments you have to make depending on the equipment. The tightness of the bars, if the beam is wobbly or not, all these little things play into the competition as well.
I basically got out of that you spy on athletes in the bathroom is really what I took from that, Sam. That's weird. Good intel, though.
I actually don't even know what team said that, but I was laughing to myself because those are the conversations when you're an athlete. You're trying to figure out, get a little intel on how the equipment feels before you actually get there.
Minervini finishing up that all-around competition today. Athlete from Towson, you can see bottom right of your screen. Stanford Cardinal, 197-175. Not a huge team score when you're looking back at the regular season for most of these teams. That number, Stanford went over 198 this season. but it's good enough. It's not about how high you score. It's about what place you get. They're in the top spot, and Michigan in that most important second place finish, 196.6, and they will beat North Carolina by 0.35. It got close, but not that close.
This concludes.
The NCAA Gymnastics Regionals continue tonight on ESPN+. You can catch the Temple Regional second round at 4 p.m. Eastern and 10 o'clock. The first round of Corvallis Regional at 5, and then the second session of Baton Rouge Regional will be tonight at 8 p.m. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. Individual scores from this last rotation. Intervening for that final floor team, a 9.8. Maddie Harvey on beam, 9.85. Mullen on that bar routine, 9.775. And Belinovsky on vault, 9.8. Utah State wasn't going to happen today. They made it interesting early, but just couldn't quite hold on. They're 0.85 behind Michigan, Sam. Then North Carolina made it a little bit interesting on that vault rotation, 0.35, with a couple of big vaults later in that rotation, maybe a couple of sticks. That gets scary close for the Wolverines, but Michigan starts slow on that beam, and we thought, uh-oh, but they managed to rally.
You know what I'm just thinking is how good this is for Stanford and Michigan, because what I've seen year after year is those teams that come in so hot on the first day of regionals, second day of regionals rather, and then they can't hang on to that for the finals. Both of these teams have a lot of areas on each event where they can improve. They know that. It's going to be easier to better that score, get comfortable. They're treating it like a practice day, but they're celebrating along the way, and so I expect both of these teams to be in sharper shape on the regional final, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's something about coming into regional. If you're the ones that are expected to advance, you can't do gymnastics safe.
Yeah.
It's not like football. If you have a lead, you run the ball. Or if you're in basketball, you have a lead, you kill the shot clock. You can't kill the shot clock in gymnastics. You've got to swing big every time you go up, because if you play it safe, you're going to make mistakes, almost certainly. And to be a favorite, knowing, hey, just do what you normally do and you'll get through, that's not always that comfortable.
Yeah, we've seen that happen, but again, both of these teams have areas for improvement. I think they could all take a big, deep breath. I don't know if they could take a deep breath after that first rotation, but seeing them fight back, I think that gives them confidence that, hey, when there's a little bit of the storm throughout the meet, let's weather the storm, stay the course, and keep going, because they've proven to be able to fight through the end.
Yeah, if I'm the Michigan Wolverines and I'm their coaching staff, I'm telling them, look, you guys had a target on your back today. You had North Carolina and Utah State chasing you. Now the target most likely moves to, well, certainly Stanford, who's ranked higher than they are, and then very likely the number one seed in this region, LSU Tigers. So the target moves to someone else, and you become the chaser. Mm-hmm. And when you're a chaser, it's like you go up and you just let it rip, because you have nothing to lose, and maybe they can work that to their advantage.
It's all about mindset. We know in gymnastics the importance of the mind, what you're thinking to yourself when you salute, how you can be at your best. And as Stanford's head coach Tabitha Yim said, her team competes best on vibes. So we know that Stanford's going to be thinking about the vibes. Good look at Michigan here.
They advanced to the regional final for the first time since 2023, and this is a program that won the national championship in 2021. A new team finally getting to the top. Bev Plotke, who I'm sure is watching right now, she coached this team, was sensational for 36 years, 27 Big Ten team titles. In history, one of the greatest women's collegiate gymnastics coaches in history, and probably the highlight, although she probably wouldn't say the wins are the highlight for her. I'm sure the journeys with these student athletes would be the highlight, but from a X's and O's standpoint, that win in 2021, the high point of her career, and well earned. And now Miley Caneva-Hermelin in her first year, trying to keep that tradition alive and making it to that regional final.
You're absolutely right, John. Bev Plotke set the foundation for this program. Head coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin has now continued it. She's putting her own mark on that, and it's been really fun to see her take over and have so much success on her first year.
Speaking of the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Miley Caneva-Hermelin, she has decided to join us. Well, we kind of wrenched your arm to get you over here. Hey, you guys in that second spot, it looked precarious for a while. Certainly that first rotation didn't go as you had hoped, but walk us through the meet and the pressures and the ups and downs you went through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't completely smooth sailing, right? It wouldn't be gymnastics, it wouldn't be sports without a little adversity. But yeah, we were a little timid on landings and handstands, and that's definitely something that we're going to want to clean up, for Saturday, but super, super proud of the tenacity and just how hard they've been working in the gym and to come to a regional, championship in Baton Rouge and, the fans and stuff. So we're really looking forward to moving on.
Balance beam is a tough place to start. You guys chose there. You told me earlier it's a tough beam routine, and a lot of teams wouldn't have been able to handle that pressure starting there. What was the message to the team after beam?
After beam, it was a great start. Obviously little things here and there. Dismounts, big time. We got to stick some more dismounts. But I was really proud of their confidence and the way that they held themselves on the beam. And they're a great beam team, and they've been proving that all year round or all year long. So it was a great event for us to start on, and we'd do it again.
So what did you say after you were in the clear, have your eyes set on Saturday? What, again, was the message to the team looking to that regional final?
Yeah, I mean, I gathered them around, and I just said, was that perfect? No. Did we have to fight? Yes. But we live to see another day. And, that it's that mentality of never giving up, always believing in yourselves and having, that trust, that respect and that confidence in everyone around you, right? That family feel. We're a family. We do everything together. We're going to win. We're going to lose. We're going to do everything together. So really just continuing to drive that home and work, right? Like I said, live to see another day. There's things to fix, there's things to get better at, and there's more opportunity.
Well, you set us up for a fun one come regional final on Saturday. Congratulations on advancing. You did the job you needed to do.
Yes.
You got to the regional final. It's going to be awesome. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. Congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal. They are the two top-seeded teams in this session, and they get the job done. It was interesting, the North Carolina Tar Heels, they tried to push them. They did for a while, but didn't quite get it done. So it'll be Stanford. It'll be Michigan. Who are they going to join in that final? LSU, Clemson, the top seeds there. So congratulations to Michigan and Stanford. We'll have the second session of Baton Rouge Regional tonight at 8 Eastern here on ESPN+. For Sam Pesek and Mary Jo Rohrig, our sports analyst, and our entire crew, I'm John Roethlisberger. So long from Baton Rouge.